Okay, we're going to take a look at functions in R. Using our example that we have been following along with, we'll start off with the temperature example, where we are going to count the number of days that we could go swimming, skiing, or biking based on the temperature. And this is going to involve an input that will be a collection of days with their temperature readings. Okay, so it's always good to take a look at what is the input going to be. So, what you see right here is an example of running a function that has already been built. So, I often like to go to this part and see, okay, well, what kind of an object does this function need to be able to handle? Okay, so we're basically going to do what we did in the last video where we have some functionality to check the temperature for each of the input values. Okay, so temps is going to be what I call a parameter. Well, this is the correct term. It's a parameter, function parameter. We can think of it as a placeholder, and we're going to see it show up in logical places in our function. Okay, so what's happening here? We're creating the name of the function. We're calling it check temp, and we are assigning something to that name. And the keyword function tells our interpreter that we are indeed creating a function. A function is a collection of operations that we can run over and over again with varying inputs. So it's set up to accept different inputs. Okay. So you're seeing all the same functionality that we had in the for loop that we saw in the second exercise. So there's not much to change here. Just notice some of the variable references. Okay, so um, notice that I have a reference to the function parameter here, temps. So that's where the input variable shows up in the function. So then I check for each of the temperatures, check if the temperature is either greater than 70, less than 30, or something in between, and then we increment the counts accordingly. All right, so let's write the function for mileage now. Okay, so what do we want to call this? So we have to come up with the name of the function. And I can see right here that the name of the function should be check mileage. So I'm going to do check underscore mileage. And then I want to assign that to the keyword function. Notice that it turns blue. And then here we want to say something meaningful. I'll call this MPG. That's going to be my placeholder for the function parameter. So note that MPG is going to be this collection of values. Okay. So then we need to open the brackets and create some space. This is how we indicate that all of the code that I write, all of the operations that I write within these two curly brackets is to be contained within the function. Okay. So I'm not going to write it out line by line because I did that in the last video. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to have to make a few changes. So let's take all of this from the for loop because we're doing the same operations, and then we'll add it here. Okay. And if I run it, I'm going to run into some problems. So let me show you what I mean. Let's get this lined up a little bit better. Okay. So I'll run this block to build the function, to create the function, tidy it up here. And then if I run this block, I'm going to encounter an error, object mileage not found. Okay, so let's look for the word mileage here. This is a problem. So in my example, the name of the vector that I was using as the input to the iterative program was mileage. But in this case, I've decided to call it MPG, and I vary these things on purpose to show that we are in charge of making those choices. We just have to stick to our um, decisions. Okay, so I made a change and I have to run this again, and then I can try running the function and I do get the correct output. So the great thing about a function is that it can adapt to new inputs. So if I had a different vector of values, I could just add them and the function would quickly adapt because all of the correct functionality is built in. It doesn't matter that I change the values that are being input to the function as long as they have the correct variable type. So see how the counts changed with the addition of some extra values in the vector. So that is functions in R. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.